Hi, this is Khalfar here with another new radio simulation. What gonna do in this video is implement the ANC for noise canceller. This is noise canceller. We're gonna implement it digitally with baseband signals in new radio and show you how it works, and use this as a demonstration for special interference filtering techniques, which require a software-defined radio that has two coherent receivers, dual channels receivers that have the same sampling rate and the same synchronization of the ADC clock and the same local oscillator, so you can receive two different antenna of the same frequency and then manipulate them with technique that called beam forming of special filtering. That sounds like awful, but it's actually really quite simple. And what you're trying to do is to create an antiphase copy of an interference signal that you can subtract from the main signal that you are trying to receive. So I'll give you a quick demonstration first, and then we go through this flow diagramming and new radio and take about how it works. So let's fire it up and take a look here. Here it comes. Okay, so here we have a signal, but we want to listen to, which is being overwhelmed by a switch mode power supply noise. And if we turn the peak hold on, you can see that there is what the signal plus noise looks like. In effect, the switch mode power supply is jamming the signals while we are listening, and I am show you what's happening when they use facial filtering.
Consecrated it far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note, nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here, and dedicate to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a
There is
great
the
civil
signal we
war,
want to listen
testing
to.
whether that nation, or any nation so conceived and so dedicated, can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We've come to dedicate a portion of it as a final
So
resting
this is an
place for
example
those
of
who
a
here gave their
simple
lives
phase
that nation
reversal
might live. It is
or
altogether fitting
antiphase
and proper that we should
subtraction
do
of
this.
noise
But in
signal
a larger sense, we
from a
cannot
desired
dedicate,
signal
we cannot consecrate, we
and
cannot
redoing
hallow
it
surround
in a
to
new
brave men,
radio.
living and dead.
Both turn that down and let's take a look at how it works. What we've got is that we got a number of audio sources. What you can do is just record some audio and save it on your computer. And what we've actually got is two signals that we are listening to, that we recorded, that we both clean signal, and then two noise signals that we recording, and what does the switch mode power supply, and they are the power of that noise, and we can plug these audio files into our new radio program. And what does it give us a chance to simulate the baseband signal that we are receiving from a software-defined radio, in this case a dual channel radio, one that providing a channel based on the main antenna and the other that's providing a channel based on the noise probe, which is optimized for just picking up local noise or local interference. So how that works is that wave file for each of the signal and noise plays. They are then going through the various level settings But before we get into how that works, basically the main channel has combinations of noise being added to the desired signal, and the noise channel has a combination of a copy of the desired signals, and the noise being added together into the second channel. Now, in addition to the noise from the power supplier, the power line was also mixed some very low levels, because it wouldn't be perfect, there would be upper noise mixed. And what we've done with these various constants, of you can down this flow diagram and see how it works, is we've got some leakage of the desired signal leaking into the noise channel. We've got a noise being injected into the main channel, and that's basically the story. So we've set up two channels, one with the mostly signal, one with mostly noise, and if we do coherent processing, we can actually subtract one from the other. Now here's the subtraction and manipulation block. We got the noise from the noise probe coming in, we can adjust its level, but here's the main thing. The phase shift, we're just simply multiplying the IQ data by -1, and that creates a reverse copy of the noise signal, which we then added into the main signal, and then we can get from that processed arm signal that we remove the noise, and then we just feed that into the speaker and play it. We've got various FFTs lined up to take a look at both the interference and the final received signal. One another thing we're playing with is phase offset. It's very important that to use this technique digitally, to need the two channels receiver. We're gonna show that if the data coming from the receiver is not synchronized, and all we do that by adding delay, that effect to this interference is through it's immediately reduced. So here we are. Let's go back to demonstration.
It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this.
So here we
But in a
have
larger
the
sense, we cannot
signal
decade, we
minus
cannot
noise. The
consecrate,
green
we
line
cannot
is what
hallow
it
this
looks
faculty.
like
The brave men,
normally,
living
but the
and dead,
interference filter
who
off,
here have consecrated it far above our poor power to add or detract.
and then
The
the
world
blue
will
lines
little
in
know,
the
nor long
signal
remember
would
what
be
we say here,
interference
but it
review
can never forget
reduced. You
what
can
they
see you're
hear,
getting 20 or
and
30
dedicated to the
dB
proposition
or
that
more
all men are created equal.
gain in the
And we
signal
are
and
engaged in
noise
a
ratio.
double war,
What does the noise
testing
look
whether that
like?
nation
In
or
this
any
case,
nation
we're
so
using a
conceived and
noise
so
from the
dedicated
switch mode
can
power
long
supply,
endure. We are met on a great
and
battlefield,
I've
remember.
got this
Let it come to
FFT
dedicate a
and
portion
gear
of
it
it as a
down
final
into
resting
the
place to
lower
those who here
part of
gave
the
their
spectrum to
lives
see you
that that
can see the
nation might live.
120
It
hertz
is altogether
spikes
fitting and proper
and
that we should do
multiples
this.
of
But in a larger sense,
120
we cannot
hertz
dedicate,
spikes, and
we
there was
cannot
across that.
consecrate, we cannot
And
hallow
that's
this
typically
faculty.
what you see when
The
you're
brave
looking
men,
at noise
living
from the
and dead,
switch mode power
who struggle
supply.
here
You can also
have
see down
consecrated
here at
far
the
above
bottom
our poor
coming
power
go,
to add or detract.
but
The
because
world will
this
little
power
note,
supply
nor
run
long remember what we say here,
at
but it
100,
can never
200,
forget what
300
they hear,
hertz,
and dedicated to the
you
proposition
can
that all men are created equal.
see the
Now
extra
we are engaged
interference
in a
being
great civil
caused, but
war,
the main interference
testing
we're
whether that
getting
nation or any
is
nation
the
so
switching
conceived and so
spikes
dedicated can long endure.
from
We
the
have come on a
switch
great
mode power
battlefield,
supply,
remember.
which fill up
We have
every
come to
100
dedicate a
of 20
portion of it
hertz.
as a final resting
Okay,
place
so
for
this
those
is
who
the
here gave their
interference.
lives that that
Let's go
nation
back
might
to the
live.
main
It
receiver.
is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But in a larger sense, we cannot decade, We cannot consecrate. We cannot hallow this
I
ground.
want to
The
demonstrate
brave
what
men,
happens
living
if
and
the
dead,
level of the
who
noise
struggled
signal
here,
is
have
not matched
consecrated it far
properly with
above
the
our poor
level
power to
of
add
the
or detract.
desired signal.
The world will little note nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here, and is dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are
You can
engaged in a
see
great
that has
civil war,
amplitude is
testing
not
whether the
matched
nation, or any
when you
nation so
don't give the
conceived and so
proper kind
dedicated,
of
can long
cancellation
endure.
or
We are
reversal.
met on a great
But
battlefield of
even
that
more
war.
dramatic
We
is
come to dedicate a portion of it as a
what
final
if your
resting
receiver
place
is
for
not
those who here
synchronized,
gave their
what is
lives
not
that that nation might
coherent.
live. It is altogether fitting and
Let's
proper that we should
simply
do this.
add
But in
one
a larger
sample of
sense, we cannot
offsets.
dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who
Two
struggled here,
samples of offsets.
have consecrated it far above our poor power to add or subtract.
You
The
can
world will
see
little
that the
note nor
noise
long remember what we say here,
filtering
but
pretty
it can
well
never forget
disappears
what they
if
did
your
here,
samples
and
are
is
not
dedicated to the
properly
proposition that all men are created equal.
synchronized. You've got
Now
a
we are
real
engaged in a
use.
great civil
And
war,
the nuts we need a
testing
dual
whether the
channel
nation, or any
software
nation
defined
so
radio.
conceived and so
We can
dedicated,
plug
can
noise in
long
one
endure.
radio
We are met on a
and
great
the main
battlefield of that war.
antenna into the
We
other
have come to
and
dedicate a
then
portion of it as
subtract
a final resting place for
to
those who
get
here
uh, to
gave
get a
their
good
lives
signal.
that that nation might live.
So let's change to a different source. I'm working on a select instead of signal 2 we'll select signal 1. Okay, and instead of the switch mode power supply noise, we'll switch to the power line noise. Okay, this will be the same idea, but it'll be a different fake radio station and different noise source. It'll work pretty much in the same way, but it work obviously differently. So we gotta fire it up. Here it comes.
Dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war,
So there's
testing whether that
the
nation, or
main
any nation
receiver
so conceived and so dedicated,
with
can long endure.
a
We are met on a
signal
great
really
battlefield of that war.
very by
We
power
have come
line
to dedicate a
noise.
portion
We'll
of it
turn the
as a
filter
final
on.
resting place for those who
First
here
we'll
gave their
capture the
lives
peaks
that
of
nation
the
might live. It is
power
altogether
line
fitting and proper that we should
noise.
do this. But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. Brave men, living and dead, who struggled here, have consecrated it far above our poor power to add or subtract. The world will
As you
little
can
note
see,
nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here, and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation,
I'm
or
playing
any
with
nation so
sample offset.
conceived and so dedicated, can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to
Oh,
dedicate a
there's
portion
some
of it as a
filtering
final
taking
resting
place.
place for
And
those
what
who
does the
here gave
power
their
line noise
lives
look
that that
like?
nation might live. It is
Not
altogether
that
fitting and
different
proper that we should do
from
this.
the
But in a
switch mode
larger
power
sense, we
supply,
cannot
except
dedicate,
you
we
got
cannot
some
consecrate,
additional
we cannot hallow
harmonics
this
and
ground.
spikes comes
Brave
going
men,
here.
living and dead,
This is
who struggled here, have
my local
consecrated it
power
far
line
above our
source that
poor power
started
to add or
acting up
detract.
again.
The world will
And
little
you can
note
always
nor
tell
long
when you're
remember what we
getting
say
switch
here,
mode
but
power
it can never
supply or
forget
power
what they
line.
did
You'll
here,
see those
and dedicated to the
120 hertz
proposition that
spikes.
all men are created equal.
And that's why
Now
I
we are
reduced
engaged in
the
a
width
great
of
civil war,
these
testing
FFTs so
whether that
you could
nation,
really
or any
see that.
nation so conceived and so dedicated, can
But
long
it works
endure.
very well,
We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of it as a final resting place for those who
as
here
you
gave
can
their
see.
lives that that nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But in a larger sense, we
I'm
cannot
sorry
dedicate,
about my
we
sound
cannot
of microphone.
consecrate, we cannot
Now, if
hallow
you
this
decide to
ground.
download
The
and
brave
play with
men,
this
living
program,
and
I'm not
dead,
going to
who
include these
struggled
audio
here,
files. You can
have
make your
consecrated it
own,
far above our poor
but
power to
basically
add or
make a
detract.
few noise
The
and a
world will
few
little note
signal
nor long
files
remember what we say here, but it
and
can never forget
With this flow diagram, you can adjust the signal level, you can adjust the noise level, you can adjust how much noise you are injecting into the signal. You can adjust how much of signal leaks into the noise probe. And by the way, if your signal leaks into the noise probe, if basically you're using a good antenna for both sources, you will not get anywhere near the same kind of reduction. Just doesn't work. And then you can check and see how quickly the filtering disappearing is if you haven't get your level set up right, and if your radio is not synchronized. So there's an example of a spatial interference filtering techniques. It's just really simple subtractions of the noise signal from the composite noise signal plus noise signal. It's just simple math. All we're doing here is actually just multiplying one of the channels by minus one by one, and you got much more facility of that, but really work. What you can accomplish on this type of filtering is exactly what happens in the ANC4. It's just redoing it digitally in the receiver. I suppose to having a box sitting outside, so here we go. An example of special interference filtering techniques. This is a Canfor here. Thank you very much. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.
We come to dedicate a portion of it as a final resting place for those who here gave their lives, that that nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this.